I've played hundreds of hours of Middle-earth Shadow of War, but one thing I've never really used that much is the shame mechanic. When you get an Orc captain's health low enough, you can dominate them in order to get a trio of options: shame, fight to the death, or recruit. In the past, I've always gone with the latter two, as I either want the Orc in my army, or I want them dead. In theory, shaming is supposed to be used if an Orc you want to recruit is too high a level, or to get rid of the Iron Will trait which stops them being recruited, but I've never really had the patience for messing around with that, meaning I haven't shamed many Orcs in Mordor. But all that changes today. I have decided to shame every Orc in Mordor. Well, at least all of the Orc captains in one region of Mordor are getting shamed down to level 1, as that's something I can actually keep track of. To help me with this challenge, I unlocked the Worse Than Death skill, meaning whenever I shame a captain, the level will reduce drastically, although there is a slim chance they'll actually get stronger rather than weaker, but I'm sure that won't be a problem. The region I booted up in is Gorgoroth, and the only Orc I have known to me is Bruise. Considering his place in the story, it seems fitting to have him be the first Orc I try to shame down to level 1. Now Bruise himself isn't actually that tricky to fight one-on-one. With Ologs it's really just a case of dodging their attacks and hitting back between blows. The problem comes from all the other Orcs around here who keep interrupting our duel. Eventually, I am able to thin the herd enough to give Bruise the attention he so craves, before dominating him and doing my first shaming of the run. There we go, from level 28 to level 16. In general, my shaming should drop the captains by 12 levels, but that annoyingly does mean I'll need to shame Bruise twice more in order for him to bottom out at level 1. And while my plan had been to run straight back to him to get this done, what actually happens is I stumble into Og the Enforcer, a commander who makes all the troops around him stronger. So much stronger, in fact, that one of them is able to knock me down and then land a killing blow. Really didn't take long for me to die now, did it? But death isn't the end in Shadow of War. Oh no. Instead what happens is that the Orc that kills you gets promoted. In this case, to a level 45 legendary captain. This guy is 10 levels higher than I am and has 2 epic traits. Things could not have got off to a much worse start than that. Still, it's just the one setback, and it doesn't take me long to get back on course, tracking down Bruise, who is once again utterly surrounded by other Orcs. This time though, I'm able to tame a Caragor, which lets me tear through the horde before chopping the big guy down to size, and shaming him once again. Bruise is now at level 4, meaning once more and he'll be dealt with. But before I get the chance to track down the Aussie Olog once again, I get ambushed.
This doesn't look good for you, and that's just the way I like it. Snafu.
Seems that Snafu is out here hunting, but his prey is able to chomp down on his legs, weakening him enough for me to shame the guy down to level 25. Minor distraction dealt with, it's back to Bruise, who has ended up on a Nemesis mission. These are the things that Orc captains get up to while you're out being the fancy Ghost Ranger that you are. In this case, the mission is that Bruise decided to take on a duel with a different captain. A captain who is 27 levels higher than him, and who brought back up. Yeah, things aren't going to go well for Bruise, so I have to charge in to save my enemy's life. Can't shame a corpse after all. I use my Elven Rage ability to fire a hail of arrows, knowing that Bruise is arrow-proof. While a smart strategy, it's countered rather effectively by one of the opposing captain's blood brothers showing up, meaning that Bruise now has a trio of captains looking to kill him. Not only is the one captain I had at a low level now dead, but the captain who won the duel now gets a level increase. Although I do make sure to turn that around mere moments after. Unfortunately, the 2 remaining captains don't prove as easy to deal with, as the pair are blood brothers who get enraged whenever the other is hurt, meaning I've got a pair of perpetually deadly captains attempting to kill me. I'm barely able to hold my own here, let alone get either of them weak enough to be dominated, so I instead decide to just run away and look for some easier prey. Seems this was the right call, as the next captain is one I spot from up on one of my towers, meaning I get to use my bow to destroy bait, explode barrels, and just deal straight up damage. I don't even jump down until he's broken, meaning it's short work to shame him. And just around the corner, I then get ambushed by the orc who killed Bruce. Turns out this guy isn't so good when he doesn't have backup though, as defeating him isn't even a minute's work. And now, he's down to level 11. Perfect. To make matters even better, Bennu seems to have respawned at his previous location, already weak enough to be shamed down to a single-digit level. While scouting for my next victim, I spot this Graug, who I'm able to mount and control. These giant beasts are great fun. While not super accurate or stealthy, they really don't need to be. I can just run about the place, smashing and stomping anything that gets in my way. And being mounted on a Graug proves to be an incredibly effective strategy for dealing with captains, as I'm first able to take on Giggles, and then Snafu, and Zugor, and Narog. Yeah, we got a shame train going with the Graug, but good things don't last forever. My targets dry up and I have to fast travel to fresh hunting grounds, meaning I leave the Graug behind. But just because I'm on foot now doesn't mean I'm going to slow down the pace at all. I spot this archer and I'm able to duel him atop a tower, not only shaming him but also dropping him off the tower and turning him deranged. Now that's gotta hurt. And before I have time to do anything else, Giggles the Clown is back, ready for another shaming. Honestly, after the death of Bruce, I was convinced that everything would go downhill, but instead I managed to get a string of victories under my belt. Sure, it's still going to take me a lot of time to get all these captains to level 1, but I was making solid progress at this point. We've already seen me effectively use Caragors and a Graug to deal with the captains, so why not go with the biggest beast of them all, a Drake. These magnificent creatures allow me to coat the ground in fire, burning my enemies while they're able to deal barely any damage to me in return. All I have to do is soften up the captains from the sky, then jump down and dominate them. And with that, I've got my first captain down to level 1. He's not going to be the last though. I also hunt down Ratak here several times over, shaming him all the way down from 45 to 1. Not everything goes quite this well though, as I do have a bit of a problem when dealing with Giggles. Turns out clowns are fireproof, so if you do meet any clowns, don't be afraid to set them on light, they'll be totally fine with it. What this means for me is that I have to get on the ground and go back to conventional fighting, which still does get me the same final result. Boy, everything is going so well now, I don't even know what it would take for things to start going wrong. Yeah, that would do it, I guess. Turns out playing with fire is dangerous, so I'm going to rescind my earlier clown burning comment, as I suppose that could possibly lead to harm. I'd love to say that the accidental burning of a captain just then was a one-off incident, but... So the problem is that low-level captains are kind of squishy, meaning they can die on accident quite easy. And after they've been dead for a while, their spot is taken by a new orc captain in the 40s. Being 40-something is the absolute worst. In this case, because it means I have to shame each of these new captains 4 times over. There's 19 different captain slots for the ones out and about here. That's already a lot of captains to shame down. If it was just shaming each of them without any dying, we're still looking at almost 80 times I need to get the job done. With captains dying on me, that just resets the whole process. I do briefly try getting my own orcs from the garrison and shaming them down, and while it's technically a little faster, it only skips me 1 or 2 shames of a captain. What I need to do instead is head to a lower level area. Gorgoroth has a level 364 fortress, and most of the orcs here are in their 40s. Nurnen, on the other hand, is a level 48 fortress, and most of the orcs are in their 20s. And speaking as someone in their 20s, I feel shame near constantly, so things should be much easier here. It does mean basically all the progress I made in this video so far was for squat, but amazingly, this is still a smart move for me to make overall. Not only do the lower level captains mean I have to do fewer shamings overall, but they're also a hell of a lot easier to defeat in combat. See how easy that was? And I even leveled up from doing it. Things should be much easier here in Nurnen. Although it seems my time in Gorgoroth hasn't left me empty-handed, as Snafu here took the trip with me, trying to ambush me in these new lands, but instead just get shamed down. Twice, in fact. Already getting that progress back. I also get Tugog here to level 1 without any hassle, and at this point it's really more of a problem of time than anything else. The process of finding a captain, fighting them till they get weak enough, and then shaming them might only take 5 minutes or so, but when you have to do it dozens of times over, it really adds up. So I decided to be smart and get some of the work done during one of my weekly live streams. I've been streaming Friday evenings UK time again, and what better to do than shame some orcs for all my regular viewers to watch. And you know what? I did make some progress during the stream.
I got him. Perfect. We'll knock him down to level 1. He's deranged. That's fine. That's fine. He's not a maniac. He's not going stupidly high level. Okay, it's all good.
But that right there was about as good as things went. I think I should let livestream Sarge explain a bit of what happened here.
I started the stream with like 4 level 1s, and now I'm down to 2. This has been an hour, and I've lost progress. Oh boy. Not good job. I mean, not good job overall. The problem is I think it was right before you showed up, I did one of these missions, like the Tribal Showdown missions, and it turns out it brings a bunch of the own orcs already in your world to fight a bunch of like high-level tribal orcs, which meant I basically lost 3 incredibly low-level captains. And then I had another captain who I shamed down, and he leveled up instead of leveling down, and I had another one I killed by accident with a headshot. Like, it has not been good overall.
Yeah, so my stupid ass went and got rid of the bulk of my progression by summoning in some high-level DLC orcs by mistake, meaning things are, once again, worse than before. I'm not giving up just yet though. I can totally salvage this. It's not over yet. No. This is all fine. It's fine, you hear me? Fine. Look at this! A Nemesis mission where an additional captain showed up. I wonder what will happen here. The captain dying while my back is turned. Yep, should have seen that one coming. But I do at least get to shame one of the other captains down to level 1. And the higher level guy gets dropped down a dozen levels too. And then Miss Ambusher is able to get shamed down to level 1 as well. So you know, one big setback, and then a few positive steps. That's still technically progress. But Argul is now hanging around the corner from me, so now I have to run away just so a mosquito or something doesn't show up and kill him. Keeping alive these low-level orcs is proving to be just as challenging as defeating the high-level ones. At this point, I now have 4 different orcs at level 1. That's basically me a quarter of the way there. All I need now is a bit of good luck. And maybe the next captain I run across can provide that for me. After all, it doesn't take much to hurt him, and getting rid of his followers isn't too big a deal. Why is my follower charging into combat? Oh my god, why? Why did you do that? You know what? Fuck you. Off the cliff you go. Yeah, this is the point where I throw in the towel. While this challenge is 100% possible to do, it just takes so fucking long. This is easily going to be the shortest video in the I Tried series so far, but that's not because I've spent less time working on it. Oh no, it's just that the entirety of the gameplay is me fighting captains over and over and over again so many times. It just feels like a never-ending process. There's likely plenty of people who stopped watching this video because 10 minutes or so of shaming captains got tiresome to them. And speaking as someone who's done that for 10 hours rather than 10 minutes, I think I get it. Shadow of War is using up over 100 gigs of storage space on my hard drive, and while I wanted to do something big to say goodbye to it, this may have been too big a challenge to give it for the finale. So it's just getting uninstalled. Now the only game I've got that's over 100 gigs is Total War Warhammer 3. I wonder if I should do something with that. A thought for another day, perhaps. For now, I just wanted to thank all of you for watching and sticking with me through this video. If you enjoyed this sort of format, make sure to go back and watch the other I Tried videos, and subscribe for more to come. You can like and share the video, join my Patreon to help fund projects like this, and even become a channel member to get a neat little badge next to your name in the comments. It's time to wrap things up though, so, as always, thanks for watching. Sarge out.